Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely. What are we unpacking today?
Well, today it's all about babies. Specifically, how to understand them even when they can't, actually talk yet.
Oh, the secret language of babies. I'm in.
Right. It's like they've got this whole communication system going on and we're just supposed to figure it out.
Well, that's where we come in.
Exactly. We're going to break it all down with a little help from an article over on swing2sleep.com. You know, that site that helps parents actually get some sleep.
Oh, yeah. They definitely know a thing or two about babies.
Yeah. So they put together this piece on 10 ways babies communicate before they can actually talk. 10.
There's so many subtle cues they give us. It's incredible.
It really is. And I'll admit, I've had my fair share of what does this even mean moments. Like, I always thought hand-sucking just meant hunger.
Right. The classic hunger cue.
Yeah. But apparently there's a lot more to it than that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it can definitely be a sign that they're hungry, but it's also a really important self-soothing technique for them.
So like their way of saying, okay, world, hold on a sec.
Exactly. They're learning to regulate themselves, calm themselves down. It's a huge step in their development.
Wow. So how do we, as parents, kind of decipher that? Because it's not always as simple as baby's hand is in their mouth, they must be hungry.
You're so right. Context is everything. Think about how long it's been since their last feed. Are they showing any other hunger cues like rooting or lip smacking? Or are they just kind of relaxed and, sucking away?
That makes sense. So it's all about reading the situation, not just jumping to conclusions.
Exactly. And speaking of just chilling out, did you see the part about the I'm content pose?
Oh, yeah. That's so true. They totally do that. Curled fingers, that far off look in their eyes, like, don't mind me, I'm busy.
Exactly. And honestly, those moments are so important for them. That quiet alertness, it's when they're really soaking everything out, making connections.
So we should resist the urge to, shake a rattle every time they go quiet.
Right. Sometimes they just need a little downtime to process. That's totally fine. Even good for them.
That is reassuring to hear. Now, what about those legs? Because I swear, my little one is constantly kicking. How do we know if it's playful or, like, they need something?
Great question. Because, yeah, baby legs, they're a whole other language. Think about what the rest of their body is saying. Are they kicking up a storm with smiles and coos? They're probably just having fun, getting some energy out.
Makes sense. It's like their version of a little dance party.
Exactly. But it's more frantic. Maybe they're arching their back, crying. That could be a sign that something's not quite right. Could be a diaper change is in order, or maybe they're feeling a little uncomfortable.
So again, it's all about putting those pieces together, looking at the bigger picture.
You got it. And this is where being observant, really paying attention to your baby's individual cues becomes so, so important.
Like learning their own personal language.
Exactly. And speaking of learning, did you see how they talked about head turning? Like that one gesture can mean totally different things depending on the baby's age.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. It's like their way of saying enough evolves over time.
Yes. In those early weeks, turning their head away is often their way of saying, okay, I'm full, or I need a little break from all this stimulation.
Yeah.
But then as they get a little older, closer to 6, 7, 8 months old, that same head turn.
It becomes a whole different ball game, right?
Yeah.
Stranger danger. Yeah, stranger danger. I have to admit, it's a little bittersweet when they hit that stage.
It is. It's like
Yeah.
1 minute they're all smiles for anyone, and the next they're clinging to you like you're their lifeline.
Exactly. And part of me misses those super social days, but then I have to remind myself it's a good thing.
Right. It's a sign that their little brains are developing right on track.
So how do we navigate that as parents? Because on the one hand, we want to be respectful of their boundaries, but we also don't want them to be afraid of everyone.
You're hitting the nail on the head. It's all about finding that balance.
Yeah.
The most important thing is to never force it. Like if your baby wants to hang back and just observe a new person for a bit, that's totally okay.
So no pushing them towards the stranger to say hi.
Exactly. Let them set the pace and, encourage your friends and family to approach slowly too. A gentle smile, a little wave, that's perfect.
Instead of the full-on bear hug.
Exactly. And sometimes just having you close by, someone they trust, is all it takes for them to feel safe enough to warm up.
It's like having their home base right there.
Exactly. Okay, shifting gears a bit, what about those moments when your baby's rubbing their ears and you automatically think, oh no, ear infection?
Ugh, don't even get me started. My anxiety goes through the roof every time.
It's such a common worry. And while ear infections are definitely something to watch out for, it's important to remember that babies are also just, discovering their bodies.
It's true. Everything is new and fascinating to them.
Exactly. So that ear rubbing, It could just be them exploring, figuring out how it feels, how it moves. It's like their version of playing with their toes.
That makes me feel so much better. But how can we tell the difference, between harmless exploration and something we need to call the doctor about?
Again, context is key. Look for other signs that something might be up. Does your baby have a fever? Are they pulling at their ears more aggressively than usual? Are they extra fussy or having trouble sleeping?
So it's really about looking at the bigger picture, not just focusing on one thing in isolation.
You got it. If it's just occasional ear rubbing and your baby is otherwise happy and healthy, it's probably nothing to worry about. But if you're ever in doubt, always, always check with your pediatrician.
Always better to be safe than sorry. Now, I've been wanting to ask you about this because it's something my baby does that used to baffle me. He'll be lying there, totally content, and then suddenly his arms start waving around like he's conducting an orchestra.
Oh, the baby conductor. I love that.
Right. At first, I was a little concerned, like, is this normal? But everyone I asked said their babies did it too.
And for good reason. It's totally normal. Babies are wired for movement, and those rhythmic, repetitive motions are actually really important for them.
Really? So it's not just them trying to get our attention or something? Not necessarily. Think about it as their way of self-regulating, processing all the sensory information they're bombarded with. It's almost meditative for them.
Wow. So it's a good thing. It means their little brains are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Exactly. Of course, if those movements seem to be causing your baby any distress, or if you notice any other changes in their behavior that concern you, definitely bring it up with your pediatrician.
Always good to have that reassurance. Now, before we move on from baby body language, I wanted to circle back to something we touched on earlier. Those other sounds babies make, besides crying. You know, the little grunts, the sighs, the gurgles.
Oh, absolutely. Those are all part of their communication repertoire, too.
Because it's easy to get so focused on the trying that we forget there's this whole other world of sounds they're making. And each one can have a slightly different meaning, just like their different cries can signal different needs.
So we should be tuning into those smaller sounds, those nuances, just as much as we're watching their body language.
Precisely. It's all part of becoming fluent in your baby's unique language. Pay attention to the way their gurgles change depending on what they're doing. Listen to the different types of cries. Are they hungry, tired, need a diaper change, or just want to cuddle?
It's like cracking a code, figuring out what each sound means.
It is. And the more you pay attention, the better you'll become at understanding your baby's individual communication style.
It's amazing, isn't it, how much we can learn just from listening to those little sounds.
It really is. It's like you said, becoming fluent in their language. And the best part is, it's something we can keep building on as they grow.
Absolutely, and it makes you realize even from those very first cries, they're already communicating with us.
Exactly. It's not just about meeting their basic needs. It's about understanding who they are.
And letting them know that we hear them, even when they don't have the words yet.
Exactly. And that feeling of being seen and understood, it's so important for their development, for their emotional well-being.
Absolutely. It lays the foundation for healthy communication for years to come. So for any of you listening who are still feeling a little lost in translation, just remember, every baby is different.
There's no one-size-fits-all guide to this whole parenting thing.
That's true. But the more we pay attention, the more we tune in to their individual cues, the easier it will become.
And trust me, it's so rewarding when those little light bulb moments happen, when you finally crack the code and understand what your baby is trying to tell you.
It's the best feeling. And who knows, maybe you'll even surprise yourself with how much you've learned along the way. Until next time, everyone, happy decoding!